Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hosts Melanie Johnson and Jenn Foster are the owners of Elite Online Publishing. They're both Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling authors. We're really glad you're here because this podcast was designed for you. Meet industry experts that share their secrets and strategies. Get successful results for your business in money, relationships, health, and your life. Each episode is going to inspire you to take action towards reaching your greatness.
Hey everyone, it's Melanie Johnson. How are you doing today? We hope you're having a great week. I'm here with Jenn Foster, my business partner at Elite Online Publishing. Hey, Jenn.
Hey everyone, it's a great day today.
It is. We have a very, very special guest, one of our own authors, Linda F. Barrett, who wrote this beautiful book called Circle to Paris. I call it beautiful because I look at the cover, and the cover of the book is so beautiful. She is here to tell us about her journey, her author journey, about her book that became an international bestseller. Linda, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, tell us, Linda, how did you get started in becoming an author and coming up with the story of Circle to Paris?
Years ago, I started taking periodic writing lessons, but I'd written all my career, 40 plus years. I'm a corporate lawyer. So writing came very easily, but I had to make the leap to learn how to write fiction. And I had so many ideas in my head. So I took some courses in Texas, and we come every summer to our house in Normandy, France. And we live surrounded by history. It's just steeped in history. Our house is almost 400 years old. And of course, we know the stories of the people that lived here and the ups and downs, the wars, the plagues, the fires. And so I had this in my mind that I wanted to bring some of these characters to life in a short novel to begin with, to share them with people in the United States, men and women, but especially young women that perhaps have not had the opportunity yet to come to France and partake of all of the beautiful places, historical places, the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre Museum, things like that. So my goal was to bring a little bit of the beauty and history and culture of France to Americans.
Well, walk it through the book a little bit. Tell us a little bit of what the book is about and about the characters.
Honora Favre is a gorgeous 17, 18-year-old Parisian girl. She has grown up with a lot of privilege. Her parents are both lawyers. They're owners of a very prestigious law firm in the center of Paris. And she is expected to graduate from her lycée, her high school, and go to another prestigious university. And something that I found out through somebody that takes care of my donkeys in Normandy is that if you do not pass the BAC or baccalaureate here, you're kind of doomed. You are not free to apply to just any university that you'd like we are in the United States. Mm-hmm. You get one more chance. If you fail it the second time, that's it. There are exceptions. You can take a preparatory course to make up, for a year or so, but most people after failing twice just give up. Mm-hmm. Most high school graduating seniors do pass it, but sometimes people get nervous or scared or tripped up or get sick and they don't. So that kind of kicked off my story. I wanted Honora to face a failure with her beautiful, privileged, happy life in Paris as a backdrop. And the places I describe in the book are places that we actually have been to, that belong to our friends, that they are inspired by real life experiences, although the characters, of course, are completely fictional. Yeah. So Honora is a beautiful girl. She really cannot believe that she is a failure now, and her friends start to shun her. Her parents kind of feel sorry for her. She gets the feeling they're a little bit ashamed of her. She's an only child. And she runs away to Normandy, which is considered like a backwater, like running away from Dallas, Texas to Paris, Texas. Her parents are shocked, like, what are you going to do there? It's just
Right.
full of country people. It's the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But she has a grandfather there because her mother was born in Normandy. And the farm is inspired by a real farm and a real family that prospered in their farming operations here in Normandy. And she starts from there, and she's never had a boyfriend because she's been too busy studying and working. And the last straw is when she gets fired from her parents' law firm. She's a receptionist and somebody fires her that really has it in for her, just wants to get rid of her. So
Well,
she
you know
comes to
what?
Normandy.
I was going to interrupt you really quick, because one thing I love about your book is it's not just a romance. It's a, excuse me, it's a historical romance. And the history that you put in there about, even just the exam that they have to take, you put the history of how, Napoleon created that and kind of the history behind why there's this test, right? So I love how you have it more historical as well as a romance and a story. So it kind of moves it along, but also gives you the backstory, because I don't know that much about Europe and France. I mean, other than what I learned about Napoleon, but other than that, I don't know too much.
Thank you, because the past explains the future.
Yeah.
And so I wanted people to understand this bad stuff is happening to this beautiful, smart girl, because all of this was put in place a long time ago for a reason. And it's ironic that Honora's apartment faces the place where this dictator Napoleon is buried. I mean, he's in a crypt, but he's so all of that is very ironic. And she goes through ups and downs, but the moral of the story that I wanted to get across, intertwined with real history, is that no matter who you are, and I can only speak, I'm a woman, I can only speak for women, especially for young women, whoever you are, whatever you're facing, whatever disappointments you're facing, people have gone down that road before you, and don't give up. And if you have an opportunity to do something, do it. Sorry.
That's okay.
But no, I'm glad you like the history. I've gotten similar comments from other friends that have read the book, even in France. And a German lady that works for Air France read it. And she said, I really enjoyed the history. I'm European, and I didn't know some bits and pieces that you had in there, but you had them intertwined with an Honora's story and all that. So it wasn't like reading a history book. I really enjoyed it. So I appreciate that.
So I know you're already working on your second book. So tell us, I mean, it took a while to get the first book written because you were learning how to write and doing all this. What have you learned from the first book to the second book in your process and how you're going about writing it? And is it easier? Has the second book been easier for you?
It's a totally different experience. It's challenging, of course, but my characters are there. They exist. They're part of my family because I think about them all the time. I can see them in my mind. Sometimes I can hear them. And the storyline is there. And as I wrote the first book, I wrote it intentionally to be a quick, fun read, like an airport book, knowing that knowing that more stories and more adventures would materialize in the second book. So it's kind of like a sequel. It's challenging, but it's much easier in other ways because the characters are there. There will be a few more new characters, but it's all centered around Honora Favre. And of course, she's going to be a mother at the end of the first book, and that's exciting. So that will
Spoiler alert.
a new
Spoiler
character.
alert.
Yeah.
Well, she's pregnant. She's going to be a mama. So that sheds a new light. Very beautiful, loving light on the second book, and it's going to open that way. And there's some surprises too.
Oh, good. Well, I know that character development is one of the biggest things in fiction writing because once you get your characters, then it is a lot easier. So tell us a little bit about the process of coming up with your characters. I know you said that some of the historical places around you inspire part of the story, but how do you come up with each character?
Well, Honora's character was inspired by a young woman that started taking care of my donkeys who live on a pasture behind our summer house. And she started taking care of them when she was 14 years old. And she is now close to getting her RN, registered nurse degree. And then she's planning on getting a master's. But she flunked her buck. And she lived through that with us. And I could tell the disappointment and the fear kind of in her face when she would come and brush the donkeys and wash them and work them, because it was like there was a very dark cloud over her. And she's normally a very cheery person. So I knew my heroine is going to be somebody like young woman, and at the time we didn't know if she would pass it the second time. Thankfully, she did. She is going to have a very successful career, and on her graduation and passing the RN exams, she's coming to Houston to the Pin Oak Charity Horse Show at our invitation, because she's also a great equestrian. So she inspired Honora. She's not exactly like Honora. Honora Favre has many other bits and pieces in her, but that kind of kicked it off years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago. And then there's so many people that we know here, that have befriended us here, that we've learned from here and have helped us. So yes, they were part of the characters and part of the story.
So what advice would you give someone else who's just thinking about writing their first novel? What advice would you give them?
Write about what you know and what you love, because it's a struggle to begin creating your story, and you have to persevere. And I read many books on how-to books, how to write fiction, but the one that stands out the most and that helped me the most is the lectures by Robert Olin Butler, who's a professor of fiction at University of Florida, who is a best-selling author, big-selling author. He said, creating fiction, it comes from where you dream. It doesn't come all from here. And it comes from your heart, from your subconscious. So for anybody thinking, I'm going to write about something, first write about what you really know most about and what you really love, because your emotions, your love, your disappointment, your fears have to go into building your characters. And then find good people to publish it that will literally take you by the hand and say, no, do this, do that, try this, try that, like Melanie and Jenn have done for me. So that's what I would tell people. But I think almost anyone, with basic writing skills can write a book. It's just a matter of discipline. Write every day. I wrote it in just a matter of months. I believe life is very short. It passes very fast. Time passes quickly. I was not out to write the greatest novel, longest novel in the world. I was out to try to start a commercial enterprise of writing fiction that people would enjoy, that people would be entertained.
I love that. Well, and people can go and find Circle to Paris on Linda's website, lindafbarrett.com, and tell them what they can get there for free, Linda.
You can get you can get a free membership to the France Insider Club, which is my blog. I've gone out throughout Normandy, France and Paris to actually create videos, record videos, audio and video of places mentioned in the various chapters of the book that Honora goes to and has her adventures. So if you're interested in the book or even have read the book, please go to my website and watch the videos. I just posted some new videos of Mont Saint-Michel, which is a magical, magical place that is in the book. And if you've joined the blog for free, just register, you can watch those videos. And I will be posting more videos as time goes by, especially when we start announcing, give a launch date for the second book.
Awesome. Well, I have a fun story to talk about is it how you say it? Mont Saint-Michel? Is that how you say it?
Yes. Yes.
So we chose the cover for Circle to Paris, and her book was released, and this And what was it? I think the same week I got a magazine for the Smithsonian Journeys, which is like a vacation magazine that shows all these wonderful places to go on vacation. And the cover was almost the exact picture that we chose for Circle to Paris. So it was really cool to see them side by side.
Well, that shows how good you are, Jen, because you came up with the pictures.
Well, you
came up with all the choices.
It was good.
And
It was
you know,
fun.
I want to give everyone the same advice Linda just gave you. If you feel like you have that story inside of you, whether it's a novel that you want to write, it's your own memoir that you want to write, whether it's a nonfiction of the wisdom and knowledge that you have, you want to share with others, life is short. You just never know what tomorrow's going to bring you. Take action and do it. Get it written, get it moving, and getting it shared to the world so it can make an impact and brighten somebody else's life. So if you're looking to write a book, make sure you reach out to Elite Online Publishing and hit our submission button and see if you're a good fit for us. Linda, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure working with you. We just loved having you become part of the Elite Online Publishing family.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.